Okay, we're talking about model building today. If you're at the studio, we've got these beautiful cutting boards. You're always going to put a mat down before you cut, preferably a really big mat, and you're going to move the parallel up to the top. So these mat boards are around the studio. And then I've got, to demo, I've got some cardboard and I've got some foam core. So the foam core is pieces of heavy paper. Let's see if I can peel one part off. So the foam core is pieces of heavy paper with the foam inside and then the heavy paper on the opposite side too. We use this for presentations. Students mount their drawings on this and we build models out of it because it's a great model building material. So you've got this foam in between two pieces of heavy paper. So that's why it's called foam core. This is the only kind of packing material that you could use to build your thing is this foam core. So it gives you a little bit of cushioning. You can see it's got some give to it. So when I'm cutting, I need an X-Acto knife and I need some kind of straight edge. So because I'm not going to be able to control my cut, especially with the way you have to cut foam core. First, I'm going to do a quick cut. So what I do is I would do my drawing on here in very light guidelines using a 4H lead. And then I would, and you can do the drawing using your parallel rule. And then, so you get it drawn correctly. And then you come on here and you're going to cut. And the way you're going to do it is you're going to hold down tight with one hand, the metal straight edge, and then you're going to pull through and cut with your X-Acto knife. And to go through foam core, it takes 3 times. And that will cut nice. And you'll get a nice smooth edge. If you look at this other side, I pulled this from our scrap box. Can you see how ragged that is? That's because someone did 2 things. They didn't use a straight edge, and their X-Acto knife blade was dull. I have lots of blades in the studio. So this one's seen better days. I'm going to change it out. And the way you change it out is I loosened up the top part here, pulled the blade out, I put a new blade in, and then I tighten it up. It's important that it's tight, otherwise it'll slip out and you'll cut yourself. So there's my nice new blade. Now you got to figure out, what am I going to do with those old blades? So I've got this old blade. Don't just throw it in the garbage can, either at home or here. If you're in the studio, we have these sharp disposal things that they use in hospitals. So just put it in there and nobody can get it out again. So that's what we use here at the studio. We'll never fill this up. And this has been like 2-3 years of cutting. So there's a couple of those around the studio. So now I've got my new blade in. If I'm using this board, it's marked in 1-inch increments, this cutting mat. So I'm going to cut one that's 2 by 3 inches. So I'm going to go over to the 2-inch edge if I didn't get it drawn, and I can line up perfectly with each one. So I've lined up with the lines on there, and then I go through 1, 2, 3. And I got this nice crisp edge. And I know it's 2 inches wide because I used my mat board to measure it. And then I want to go 3 inches wide in this direction. So I'm going to, again, use the mat board, which you can do if you're not being really specific. Like we're doing study models in design right now, and this is accurate enough. So I cut that. And one other trick is you always protect what you want to keep. So if my knife had slipped, I would be slipping on my scrap, not on my good piece of material. So this one, I'm going to turn it around because I want to keep the 3 inches here. I'm going to line it up at the end, and I can use count over 1, 2, 3 inches. And I can come in here, and I can cut. And I'm happy to help you cut. And I go 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
I'm in the middle of class. Yeah, thanks. So I've got this 2 by 3 piece cut. And if I measure it, it fits right in there at 2 by 3. So that's foam core, and you want nice edges. Key is a good X-Acto knife. You could use a utility knife, but you're still going to have to change the blades fairly frequently. Cardboard is a little bit easier. I've got my cardboard here. And can you guys hear it cutting through the cardboard? So cardboard I'm able to do in 2. And I got a nice clean cut. But I was going in the same direction as the ribbing. If I'm going in the opposite direction, it might take me 3 cuts. So again, I'm going to line something up here. And I'm going to, can you hear how it's not smooth, it's jumping. And that's because I'm hitting those ribs in the cardboard. And in the opposite direction, it's going to take 3 times. But again, I got a nice smooth cut. So those are the main tricks. When you glue, you can use hot glue gun. I have hot glue guns here. You can use any kind of glue that you want, rubber cement. I'm looking for precision. I mean, I wasn't that precise. I did 2 by 3. I'm looking for nice, neat lines. If you want to be really picky, I have these, they're called rabbit cutters, but I could do it here. If I want to join 2 pieces together, I can go through on the foam core, and I can just take off enough. I'm looking for good quality models, whether you use foam core or not. So I see what I did. I can trim it, and I can get a really nice corner. So I had that one piece that I pulled off the center. That works with foam core. It's a little harder with the corrugated cardboard. And then I could glue it together and get a nice corner. So I'm looking for nicely constructed, not slapped together. So I don't think this is being that precise. I was just doing 2 by 3. Any other questions about this? No? Okay, so we've got all of this together, and then we would glue it. Sometimes you might want to take a little, if you've got foam core, you can put little pins, like sewing pins in to hold it together while it tapes. You just don't do hot, big blobs of hot glue. Try to make it look finished. And like Jalone, you were doing a decoration on the outside for the X's, so you can, stretch it between your popsicle sticks. And remember, smaller, if we have 2 or 3 that their eggs don't break, the one that's the smallest and the lightest is going to win. So that's a very quick overview on how to model build. Just make sure you store your X-Acto knife in a safe place. And the key is having sharp blades, whether you're using this or you're using a utility knife. And I have like extra blades in an old Altoids box. Any questions? Okay, it's almost 2 o'clock.